Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see all of you out this evening. Thanks for joining us here this evening. As we get ready to begin this evening's proceedings, we ask you, those of you who can sit, please be seated. And those who are a little far off, we ask you to come closer. We are here this evening for the groundbreaking ceremony, the ceremonial groundbreaking for the Evesham playing field. This time, we are inviting young Daniel Duncan Richardson to render the national anthem on pan. So I'm asking everyone to stand wherever you are. If you're walking, just stand where you are at attention. Come down. Just stand where you are at attention as we render the national anthem. Thank you very much, Daniel Duncan Richardson. Give Daniel another round of applause. That's Green Maricoa Valley talent. Young talent. So he's coming up. Just now he's going to rival Rodney Small. Area representative for Maricoa, the Honorable Minister of Education, Sinclair Prince. Minister of Sports, the Honorable Cecil Mackey. Father Hanif Johnson of the Anglican Church at Evesham. Chairman of the National Lotteries Authority, Mr. Murray Bullock. Former Honorable Parliamentary Representative for Maricoa, Mrs. Gerlin Miguel. Specially invited guest, Mr. Elroy Williams of Evesham. Head teacher of the Evesham Primary School, if you're here, Mrs. Damaris Martin. Teachers of the Evesham Methodist Primary School. Ms. Jem Edwards of the Teacher Miriam Preschool. Sportsmen and women in the area. Students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to Evesham. My name is Jennifer Richardson and I am your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. Welcome everyone. We're glad you're here. The people of Evesham, and more specifically the sportsmen, as well as those in Kelbourne, Riley, Collins, Carré, and surrounding areas, must be beside themselves as they look to the end of an era where all of their sporting activities took place on the hard court at Evesham Methodist Primary School. Just imagine practicing football and cricket on a hard court and then having to play competition on a real field. Well, that's just what those young men have been doing for years. But that era is fast coming to an end. And soon they will be playing on a real field. I could hear the young sportsmen of Carré saying, wait until we could practice on that field. We are going to hand back some of the blows that we have been holding over the past years. And the only reason they've been holding blows is because they didn't have a good field to practice on. Right, guys? Stick to that story. I can also hear the teacher of Evesham Primary School saying, finally, I could really have that place properly fixed up and not worry about a football or a cricket ball that would come crashing through one of the windows and cause property damage down there. We thank head teacher Damaris Martin and other past head teachers for putting up with the boys and not chasing them away. We are aware that the former area representative, Mrs. Gerlin Miguel, attempted before to develop a playing field in the area, But that did not quite work out. But she started the process, and now the Honorable Sinclair Prince is completing that process. And as a people, we are grateful. I speak like this because I am from the neighboring village of Kare, and I have seen over the years the difficulties faced by our players. I ask you to put your hands together for Mrs. Miguel, who started the process, and Mr. Sinclair Prince, who is now looking to complete it. And with that, I want to apologize to Mrs. Prince for not recognizing your presence in front there. Welcome, Mrs. Prince. Thank you for being with us. And I know the last 5 years have not been easy, but you stuck it out, and it's good to see you. Hi, Ina. Good evening. All right. At this time, I want to ask, you know, there is an institution right here in Evesham that has not been really recognized for the work that it has done over the years. And this evening, I want to pay tribute to the teacher Miriam Edwards Preschool for all the many, I believe they have been in existence for over 70 years, maybe more. Because believe you me, I went to teacher Miriam Edwards Primary School, preschool, and I ain't young, right? So it's been there a long time. So I want to thank teacher Jem Edwards, who has been running with the preschool all of these years. And we wish that she would continue and that someone else would rise up to continue what has now become an institution. It's right behind us here, the teacher Miriam Edwards Preschool. So I want to invite them at this time. They're going to do an item for us. I want to invite teacher Jem Edwards and her little ones to come and present their items for us at this time. So put your hands together and welcome the small ones as they come.
Afternoon. Hardy present. Good afternoon. Edwards Preschool. Time for all. We are going to our new playing field to play cricket and football. Run, hop, almost cannot stop for the education. Jimmy Prince, wonderful donation. We are in the Caribbean Sea, where cocoa says a coconut and fine banana tree. There were our ocean sugar cake, waving in the breeze, saying, Vincent, in this name. We are all too many, you say, Vincent. We are all too many, you say, Vincent. We are all too many, you say, Vincent. The future in our hands.
Hey, folks, pick up the little children. Give them another. They are out to build a new St. Vincent. And trust me, that preschool is right here in the back. And the playing field is being developed right behind us. So they're going to make maximum use of that playing field. Teacher Jem, I'm sure you're happy about that. Yes, she says yes. All right. At this time, we want to hear from residents of the area, well, at least one or two, and as they testify to how this playing field is going to improve their lives and their sporting prowess. Now, we have one resident of Evesham. You all know him, he's very popular. But he has been agitating for the development of a playing field in Evesham. He has been a thorn in the side of the minister. Minister, should I say he has been a pest? Anything. Okay, he says anything. Yes, he's been a pest, right? Literally pestering the minister to get this field going because he is an advocate for the young people like himself, and he wants them to be able to play, develop themselves. Now, there was a motto put forward for this ceremony, and it is bringing communities together, developing wellness and individuals through personal development, through sports. And it is quite an appropriate motto, developing wellness and personal development through sports. One of the persons who has been pestering our area representative to get this playing field going for the young people here in Evesham, not just Evesham, but Carrera, Kelboni, Riley, Collins, all of the surrounding areas, and who has been an activist, an advocate, anything you can call him, but he has been pushing for this, is the young entertainer who we all know and love, Mr. Hans John. I want to ask Hans to come now to say a few words as he testifies to how this playing field being here would benefit the residents of this area. Hans, welcome. Dance together again for Hans.
Me and this woman getting a big argument Tuesday morning. Confrontation. Don't mash up, everybody watching. They making a statement right now on the pavement.
Pleasant evening to all. Evesham, Carre, Riley, Calboni, Ginger Village, Collins, Kenyan. It don't matter where you're from, but let me take this time to acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable, I had to say Honorable twice, Ralph E. Gonsalves. Welcome to Evesham and surrounding areas. He is no stranger to this community. I see him almost every day. And I call him almost every day. Honorable Minister, our area representative, Mr. Jimmy Prince, welcome. Well, you're at home. Minister of Sports, and I'm a part of his ministry as well, in terms of culture. Honorable Ses Maki, pleasant welcome and good evening too.
Thank you.
The National Lotteries Authority have been supporting youths, sports, and culture for so many years now, and it's only fair that I welcome Mr. Murray Bullock to Evesham. Father Johnson, you're not forgotten. Not at all. And Murray is a Mespo man as well too. And Father Johnson, you're now a part of our family because I see you when you're parking. I'm guilty of not showing my face often, but to church that is, because I grew up in the Anglican Church, St. Matthias Church. Pleasant evening to you as well. I feel very proud standing before you, not only as a soca artist. I stand before you as a community member. And I'm a living testimony of being a part of this great achievement as a community. For many years, the footballers, and we are currently still playing there on the Evesham hard court. It started at the chapel yard, the Methodist Church, where they used to play football. From a brief discussion with some of the older guys, they would have mentioned that the Evesham hard court was not paved as yet. They then went on to pave the Evesham hard court. And from the chapel yard, they went to the hard court. Unintentionally, we damaged the school's infrastructure from playing on the hard court. Many young men got injured on that hard court. One person died on the hard court. So when you see this playing field happening today, it goes beyond politics. Because I know the youngsters who take advantage of sweating on the hard court. It's a means of keeping them out of trouble. It's a means of bringing the community together. It's a means of youth development. We have been facing a lot of problems in our small community. Many. Gun violence, mental illness, drugs. We're not perfect. But you see that hard court at Evesham School, it helped to change many lives. Many lives. Fellas testified that the hard court and playing football was the avenue to release them stress and help them not to get involved in any criminal activities or being influenced as such. One guy told me this morning, he said, Hans, when I finished playing football at the hard court, I so tired. I had to go home and rest myself. I wasn't even given a chance to go out there and to join with others to do certain things. Because the football, because the hard court. Other young man tell me, he said, Hans, he told me, he said, Hans. And he watched me in my face. I said, what happened? He said, you know how long we wanted a playing field? On the court, so many different persons who you could see as a road malo come down on that Evesham hard court and they played football. They influence you and we instill positiveness in them, that they want to better themselves. You don't know some of the problems these young men face. Some stop going to school because they don't have any money. They come on the hard court and they kick football. I encourage them and say, holy faith. We go past this soon, try farming. They pick up farming just to stay away from violence. I don't want to really hold up this evening proceedings, but let me tell you this. I've never seen any police officers came at the Evesham school and told us to get outside and stop playing, or because we're damaging the school property. They never yet come with guns. Well, one time police come and he say, all you kicking ball, all you making no trouble, man play football, man. And they left. Before this time. So when you see Hans John stand up here before you, and I speak on behalf of the youths in my community, I mean well for them, and the park will create a lot of avenues. The shops around the area will benefit tremendously, extensively. I told Kenny this morning, I said, Kenny, you have to extend your shop, you know, because the amount of traffic you're getting coming to this playing field, that shop going to be too small. I said, Dots, boy, you have to extend your shop, sorry. Because the amount of people coming at this playing field, trust me, you're going to get some good business. And we are grateful. And some persons might ask, why now? Everything happens for a reason. Many persons would ask, why now? But you see, if back then, if we had gotten a playing field, we would not be able to brag and boast that our playing field is close to the clinic. In case of any emergency, any injuries, we are right next to the clinic. Mrs. Miguel, you're responsible for that, and I thank you. Mrs. Miguel is responsible for that, and I thank you. In case of any emergencies, any young man decide, oh God, that they're gonna fall down and they break their hand, God forbid, we're next to the clinic in case of an emergency. The preschool can now have a place. The Evesham Methodist School can now have their own sports here. They don't have to journey to Annisville and in Corcos. Parents could feel comfortable knowing that their kids are right on their doorsteps. This park is not gonna be shoved under the carpets. It's not gonna be go down as, oh, another one of them projects, they tie an animal on it. We have a responsibility to play in this community, and I'm asking each and every one of you to play that role and take care of our facilities. A lot of money being spent on this project. I'm asking you please to take full advantage and let's take care of our facilities. All in all, I really hope that the youths continue to stay out of trouble. And I know with the park, it will bring Career together, Riley together, Ginger Village, Calboni, and all the surrounding areas. And I look forward to play on playing on this playing field. A very important person who played a role here in helping us is Mr. Evesham, Mr. Bernard John. He should not be forgotten, and he will not be forgotten. Mr. Bernard John was the person who helped Mr. Prince in acquiring the land, and we're very grateful for that. Today, we could stand here and we could witness that. Without Mr. Bernard John, it would not be possible. But all in all, I, Hans John, thank you and enjoy the rest of the proceedings. And let's continue to support our community. Communities across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are what they are today because of the members, not the name of the community. We have our work to do as well. We have to build our community. We have to support the youngsters in our community. And we are trying. Mr. Prince, Honorable Minister, please, I beg you, do not forget the ladies. Don't forget the women. I would love to see some netball playing on the hard court after we move to our new home. I would love to see some netball being played at the Evesham hard court. And Mr. Murray, I'm asking you please, and I take this opportunity in front of everyone, if you could give us a few lights, we'll be very grateful. Some floodlights. Our Prime Minister is endorsing the message as well. But all in all, thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you give it up for Hans John? He's not only a soca artist, he's a public speaker too. Thank you, Hans. And he knows how to beg. Since 2001, this country has seen the development of 24 playing fields, 20 of those through the National Lotteries Authority. This playing field at Evesham will be our 25th and the 21st to be developed by the National Lotteries Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium the chairman of the National Lotteries Authority, Mr. Maury Bullock, to bring us brief remarks.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Jennifer Richardson, Master of Ceremonies and Director of API, the Area Representative Minister of Education, Mr. Jimmy Sinclair Prince, my former classmate, and Jimmy is always trying to bully me. The same way he used to bully me in school, he's trying to bully me still. But it's all right. We remain very good friends. Good evening, Naomi. The Honorable Prime Minister and Prime Minister of Prime Ministers, the Honorable Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, the Minister of Sports, Culture et al., the Honorable Cecil Mackey, Father Hanif Johnson of the Anglican Church, Evesham, the former parliamentarian and Rose of the Valley, Mrs. Gerlin Miguel. Mrs. Miguel, good evening. It's good to see you, as energetic as ever. Thank you for your many years of distinguished service to Mariaqua and St. Vincent. Thank you, Gerlin. Specially invited guests, a great teacher, a great farmer, a great community man, Mr. Elroy Williams of Evesham. A teacher of the Evesham Methodist Primary School, Mrs. Damaris Martin. Ms. Jem Edwards of the Teacher Miriam Preschool. Sportsmen, women in the area, students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. A special shout to Anthony Denny of the National Lotteries Authority. He's the marketing officer, product development officer at the National Lotteries. Mr. Denny, my sincere condolences to you on the passing of your father, the esteemed Saga Court Alfonso Denny, one of the great educators of our country. But he lived a distinguished life, and as I told you privately, his death is worthy of celebration, not mourning. But still, you can never get accustomed to death. And my condolences go to you. I would like to remind the Masters of Ceremony, Mrs. Jennifer Richardson, that I am a Mespo man. I am from Yambu. I went to school at Mespo. I went to school, Mariaqua Government School, Canaan Government School, Bonpan. How many of you went to Bonpan? None of you could remember. School used to keep in Bonpan. Well, school used to keep in Bonpan. And I was in Bonpan, along with Jimmy Prince, Elaine Shallow, who is now Dr. Elaine Boyle, and several other distinguished persons from the Mariaqua Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, if St. Vincent is the breadbasket of the Caribbean, Mespo, Mariaqua is the breadbasket of St. Vincent.
That's right.
And breadbasket in many respects. We have produced distinguished persons in all aspects of life, all areas. Education, we have produced some outstanding educators. And coming to mind is the late Leo Jack. I talk about the late J.P. Eustace, John Parmenas Eustace, and I consider him a Mespo man because he spent most of his life in Mespo. I also talk about Grace Eustace, and in my mind, both of them are worthy of national heroes status. because they have contributed much. In sports, we talk about Teixeira, Tupsin Teixeira, Albert Tupsin Teixeira, who represented St. Vincent, represented the Windward Islands, represented Canada, and he's a legend among cricket in St. Vincent and in Mariaco. I talk about Casper Davis. I talk about Elson Crick. I speak about several others. In football, who can forget Papi? Papi, despite his fragile frame, was a terror on the football field and a sure goal scorer. In agriculture, this constituency has produced people like Reuben Robertson, Chief Agriculture Officer. We have produced people like Noble Davis, outstanding agriculture personnel. And I can go on, but time does not permit me. I want to thank the Prime Minister for empowering the National Lottery. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. When the Prime Minister assumed leadership in 2001, believe you me, the revenues at the National Lottery was $10.4 million. 10.4. The last fiscal year, we have accomplished over $70 million in revenue. The National Lottery has invested in sport and culture over the last several years, over $100 million. Carnival, sporting facilities, infrastructure, 9 mornings, you name it, sports and culture, we have contributed. And we are very happy and very fortunate that the Prime Minister has given the National Lottery the authority and the autonomy to operate in the way that we have operated over the last several years. And I thank you so. As you all know, Jimmy Prince is a very persistent individual. And Mr. Prince came to me and he said, Murray Bullock, I want that playing field in Evesham. And, you know, he was not entertaining any arguments to the contrary. Mr. Prince, you're well on the way to getting a playing field. This playing field project would involve the playing field itself. The earthworks are practically complete. Very shortly, we should be grading and sowing the grass seeds. Within 3 to 4 months, you'd see a lush playing field. Then we would have to roll it. We have to put in complete the retaining walls. We have to put in a decent washroom, change room, and some bleachers, and maybe a pavilion. So, Mr. Prince, you have twisted the arm of the National Lottery for a project that will amount to over $500,000. And while I am at it, I want to recognize Mr. Hans John. Hans, I thought you were Calypsonian. But, Mr. Prime Minister, I humbly suggest that you do a talent identification program for prospective parliamentarians that need support and grooming, and that Hans John be one of the very first candidates on that list. Hans, thank you, sir. I'm very impressed. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not the only project that the National Lottery has done in this constituency. The clinic you're standing there, that was financed by the National Lottery. I don't care what they tell you. The money came from the National Lottery and we never get it back. So that is a NLA project. I want to thank the players and supporters, the staff and management of the National Lottery for the tremendous job that you have been doing. Because remember, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. And you must be in it to win it. The National Lottery cannot do what it is doing. It cannot fulfill its mandate, its ever increasing mandate, without the support of the public of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I want to say a hearty thank you to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for your unstinted, unwavering support of the National Lottery. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
There's a will, there's a way. Though the way that may seem it right unto you dismay. We were born to be free.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murray Bullock, and thanks to the National Lottery. The playing field behind us, if you missed it, it's going to cost some $500,000. So that's a considerable amount of investment in the community of Evesham. Thank you, National Lotteries. Give it up, everybody, for the National Lotteries Authority. Our next speaker has successfully served the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture for the past 10 years and is now preparing to leave the political scene in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is therefore fitting that as he nears the end of his tenure, that he has one last hurrah. And what better way for him to do so than to witness the groundbreaking for the development of what will be the 25th sporting facility in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Honorable Cecil Seth Mackey to bring us some remarks.
And time wasting is a crime. We must move in retaliation this time. And clean up racial oppression this time. Make way for the upcoming generation this time.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Members of the platform, Honorable Prime Minister, Minister Prince, Father Johnson, Mr. Bullock, Jennifer, Sister Gerlin, I see in our midst there Mr. Curtis King and family, persons from the Mariaqua Valley, members of the media, everyone following this program live and direct throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the world this afternoon. You notice I went to the edge of the stage and I peeped around. I wanted to make sure when I address you, when I address St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the world, that I was speaking to you truthfully and that I saw with my own eyes, witness for myself, that a playing field is being constructed at Evesham. Put your hands together for this wonderful achievement.
Though the way that may seem it right unto you dismay.
And the words of that song just said, things that seem it right. Another Mespo man. How can I come into the valley and not add my voice of boastfulness about the valley? I'm sure when Jimmy comes on, he will boast a little more. But let me help him to boast. There is probably no better place to be on a Sunday afternoon than in the valley. There is no better place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be on a Sunday afternoon than the valley. Do you agree with me? All right. When I came over the hill at Gumi, I looked at the lush greenery, breadbasket not only of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but of the region. Maury just said it. When I mingled with the friendly people, when I saw the possibilities in this area, and Jimmy said to me that you will not leave the valley this afternoon unless you have some good valley food. He said that to me. When I see the possibilities that lie with sport and culture, you just heard from Hans. When I see what the valley holds in terms of the development for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I must help Jimmy boast too. Put your hands together for the valley.
Somebody take me home, home. Somebody take me home.
I had the privilege of working over the last 20 years with Sister Gerlin and now Jimmy, heading up the National Sports Council, and for the last 8 years as Minister of Sport in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They have been insistent. They have been very forceful. They have made demands and commands. They have said to me, Minister, there are a couple things that we have focused on in the valley, and you have to continue to work with us. Academics, agriculture, culture, and sports. These are a few areas that we are going to continue to focus on. And Minister, right now we only have 2.5 playing fields in the valley. We must get more playing facilities for persons in the valley. Because we have turned out a lot of outstanding individuals. And Maury just pointed to a few. In cricket, Albert Teixeira, one of the best cricketers ever out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In football, Papi. In administration, Larry Bascom. And the list goes on and on and on. And I reminded Elson Quick, and admin, look this way, Elson, don't look the other way, look this way. You have turned out a number of outstanding persons in the valley, and put your hands together one more time for your achievements in this valley. And Sister Gerlin and Jimmy said, sporting facilities for the young people will be critical going forward with our development. We can no longer allow, as Haddon said, to just have the young people playing on the hard court or on the road. We have to continue to provide facilities. If you look across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as a government, I think we can be extremely proud. 64 hard courts, 54 playing fields. And if you break that down by constituency, you will see that each constituency has 4, 5 playing fields and 5, 6 hard courts available to them. So we have been providing the opportunity for our sportsmen and women not only to practice on these facilities, but also to host competitions. And this is going to be very important going forward. Nationally also, 20 years ago, we could not, well, let's say 15 years ago, we could not host a major regional competition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But from 15 years ago, we have hosted the regional cricket competition, 7 teams from the region, because we now have 6 quality regional facilities that they can play on every day. And of course, you know that next year we will have international cricket return to St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the Arnersvale Sporting Facility, where we'll host Australia versus West Indies in back-to-back clashes.
Somebody take me home, home. Somebody take me.
This government has made central to its planning, to its vision, focus on young people. And we have said to the young people of this country that sport will be central to your development. So in addition to all of these sporting facilities throughout the country, the National Sports Council and the National Lotteries Authority, they continue to collaborate and combine their efforts and their resources to continue to upgrade playing facilities throughout the country. So every sporting discipline has a facility close in each community that they can play sports on. And of course, you also know, not too far from here at Diamond, that we are building for the young people of this country, and I see a lot of young persons here, a sporting facility, which is another phase of the development of the National Stadium project, which would allow our young people to run on a synthetic track right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and have an additional football facility that can host international fixtures. Put your hands together for that.
From the hills to the mountains, high, high, high. Every man, every woman, every child.
This government has gone a step further, and we have said not only will we be providing facilities for the sportsmen and women to play on, but we have said that each year, and we have proven it, the track record is there to show. Each year, we support the sportsmen and women with scholarships, with bursaries, and full support when they're going out, whether as individuals or as teams to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the various sporting disciplines. Last year, this year has been particularly good in terms of support for those individuals and groups. We have also said, as a policy, persons representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you should either be in school or you should be working. And we have supported this policy fully through the YES program, through the SET program, or directly with employment. A lot of persons come to the ministry, a lot of persons go to your representative, a lot of persons go to the Honorable Prime Minister. And through those various mechanisms, most of the persons, not all, because we continue to work with some, most of them are gainfully employed or are in school, and we provide the support for them. We have gone a step further. We have said to these communities, not only would we provide opportunities for the young people, but also for the mature persons. So in the Valley, you have 2 Masters cricket teams, and you also have Masters football teams. We now have an international Masters cricket competition that we host here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And a number of the Masters football teams go overseas to play in competitions, fully supported by the ministry and fully supported by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have gone further, and I'm sure that this year, come independence, the Honorable Prime Minister would have some additional announcements to make. But we have identified in this country a number of sporting and cultural ambassadors, some from the Valley, and those persons are tasked with the responsibility to continue to assist us with the development of sport throughout the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This facility at Evesham, you heard the intention of the communities that it will serve. I'm from West St. George, and we would also benefit from this facility. The area of Gome, the area of Kelburnie, and we share that border. Persons from those communities would be also able to come here and play sport. And Sister Gerlin and now Jimmy, they have insisted that we need another facility even closer to the Belmont area, because Belmont is a community that serves all three constituencies, Mariaquaw, East St. George, and West St. George. So we are aggressively pursuing the possibility of having a piece of land in that area that can also serve all three communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the track record of this government speaks for itself. The track record of your former representative, Sister Gerlin, and now the Honorable Jimmy Prince speaks for itself. Importantly, leadership for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, particularly in these critical and challenging times, is going to be very important. At the country, at the national level, and at the community level. Mariaquaw, you've been fortunate to have outstanding representation through Sister Gerlin. Mariaquaw, you are fortunate to have had outstanding representation for the last 5 years from the Honorable Jimmy Prince. I want to say to the young people, I want to say to all of you gathered here this afternoon, I want to say to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in these critical challenges times, let us do the right thing and support an institution, leadership, and a government that will continue to take St. Vincent and the Grenadines forward, to keep uplifting St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I dare say, I'm brave enough to say, Jimmy Prince is the man. The Prince for the Valley is the man. Thank you very much. And let us wait the Vincent, put your hands up high and let me hear you say, this island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say, this island.
I want the DJ to play just a little bit of Perseverance. Just a little bit. Because the Honorable St. Clair Jimmy Prince persevered. Yes, he did some arm twisting. He took some nudging from persons in the community. Took a little bit of blows too. But perseverance pays off. And we are getting a playing field here in Evesham. So play a little bit of Ransom, the man from the valley.
Where there's a will, there's a way. The only way that may seem it right unto you dismay. We were born to be free, but survive such rough history. Yet life still goes on in the battlefield. Our existence is a mystery. Coming to from the start, they learn how to beat me. Coming to from the start, they know we were strong. I know enough is enough, cause I can't be tougher than tough. We couldn't make every single dream come true. We gotta do what we gotta do. We got to fight on, get up, stop complain.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, DJ. Fight on. Perseverance and strength go together. So we want to acknowledge the strength of the parliamentary rep. He persevered, and now Evesham is getting its own playing field. But Evesham, playing field is not just for you, eh? It's only located here. This is like the United Nations. It's located in New York, but it doesn't belong to them. This field is located in Evesham, but it belongs to Kelboni, Carrick, Collins, Lacqua. I mean, says Gome. It belongs to all of us, all right? So we all have a part to play. I want to welcome my friend Curtis King and his wife. Curtis, welcome. I know you're no stranger to Mariaquaw, but welcome nonetheless. Okay, at this time we're going to hear from the Evesham Methodist Primary School, the school that has been the most inconvenienced by persons playing on the hard court. But you know what? They never fret, they never fuss. They say the boys don't have any place else to play. So let them play. So thank you very much, Head Teacher Martin. I see her in the back. Thank you. And at this point, we want to welcome the Evesham Methodist Primary School. They've always been strong in culture. So welcome them as they present an item. Put your hands together, folks. Come on, welcome Evesham Methodist Primary School. I know the valley is a little damp, yeah, but not our spirits. So give it up for them. That's right. What do you need?
Visitors and villagers, welcome to the Evesham community, the best community in the Maracaibo Valley. Yes, we come from the Evesham community. Yes, we come from the Evesham community. Watch out, Rosie, I'm pretty. Watch out, Rosie, I'm pretty. Alina sheep, Alia. I'm breadfruit, delicacies. I'm breadfruit, delicacies. But today's not about me. It's about the community. But today's not about me. It's about the community. Have you ever heard that Mr. Rupacha? He was the first native governor of SBG. Alright, where you come from? Alright, where you come from? Born and bred, and in his blood. Alright, where you come from? Alright, where you come from? Born and bred, and in his blood. So Rupacha is the only one. So Rupacha is the only one. Let me tell you some more of our great champions. Let me tell you some more of our great champions. Radio announcers, Evans Bolajan. This is the farmers, Mr. Kevin Depesh, lawyer, Mr. Brendan John, doctor, Shama Mars, Take it up, Miriam Edwards, and Rayla Gold, trustees, accountant, Mr. Ruben John, Minister, Gerald Wine, Music entertainers, Scorpion, and Icon. Cultural ambassador, Hans John. Hans John. If you know your name, don't be ashamed. If you know your name, don't be ashamed. Someone like me say, that Evesham, when they are get a plenty, and take the praise, pray on the sea, and start to build, it take for it. Someone like me say, that Evesham, when they are get a plenty, and take the praise, pray on the sea, and start to build, it take for it. We not look at them, we not look at them, we not study them, we not look at them, we not bother with them, we not study them. What about life for you and you? What about life for you and you? Must take care of this facility to develop our athletic ability. One for all and all for one. Let's work together to build our community and our nation. We not look upon them. We not bother with them. We not study them. We not look upon them. We not bother with them. We not study them. We not look upon them. We not bother with them. We not study them.
Give it up for the Evesham Methodist Primary School. They ain't studying nobody, they get in the playing field. And you hear all the prominent people who have come out of Evesham. The Honorable Sesmak said Maracaibo people to boast in. He said we boast about everything. Well, we have something to boast about, right? Yeah, we had lots to boast about. Well, the rain is with us again, but just a little sprinkle, it will soon pass. Like I say, the soil may be damp, but not our spirits. All right? Thank you very much, Mr. Donovan. That mic sound a lot more powerful than this one. We want to thank the Evesham Methodist Primary School again for their rendition. Prime Minister, enjoy that one. Big them up, give them a nice round of applause. And they had what? Maybe about 2 weeks to put that together. So they did really well. Really, really well. Thank you very much, Teacher Nanton and students. And the other teachers in the back. Teacher Jackson, the head teacher, Martin, Mrs. Edwards. All of them who came out with the children this evening, thank you so much. Our next speaker has been handed the largest ministry in government, the Ministry of Education, National Reconciliation, and Information. And along with that, represents one of the bigger constituencies in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This minister is hardworking, and no matter how tired he is, you can hardly tell because he's always laughing. Sometimes you wonder if he ever gets upset. The Honorable Sinclair Jimmy Prince has been working hard to deliver for the people of Marikwa, hence the reason we are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and give the Prince of the Valley a resounding round of applause in appreciation for his hard work and especially for his efforts in bringing this playing field to Evesham. The Honorable Sinclair Jimmy Prince.
Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, Minister of Tourism, Honorable Seth Mackey, Reverend Johnson, Mr. Murray Bullock, Chairman of the National Lotteries Authority, and my longtime school friend, Sister Gerlin Miguel, principal and teachers of the Evesham Primary School, Curtis King, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am indeed happy. I am absolutely elated to be here this afternoon because it is an historic afternoon. An afternoon where we are setting the platform to realizing one of the most important projects in Mariakwa. Not the most expensive yet, but certainly one of the most important projects that we have in this valley. I've said over and over that our terrain, our topography, and our general geography do not allow us to do a lot of things that we would wish to do in as easy a manner as it happens in other places. But with perseverance and by working smartly, we are able to get what we want done. I wish to welcome all of you to Windsor, a location which historically has played a very significant role in the social and economic life of Evesham and the rest of Mariakwa. In the past, this area has been the center of estate life and also the center of the banana industry. It is now the home of the Evesham Health Center and the Lone Cemetery in the area. But it will soon become the sporting center of the entire western flank of this beautiful valley. The western villages of Mariakwa include Evesham, as you've heard before, Kilboni, which we share with Curtis King and Seth Mackey. We have the western side, they have the eastern side. We have Evesham Vale, which includes Lacqua, Riley, Carrere, Collins. Lack of suitable lands as a result of our hilly terrain, no doubt, has contributed to the situation where these villages have been long without a playing field. As a matter of fact, in my lifetime, I can't remember anywhere in the western areas where we've had a playing field. We've played cricket and football on mountains, in cemeteries. As a matter of fact, at Riley, they play cricket in the cemetery. So it was important that this particular project come to the fore. Young people interested in sport have had to brave the unsuitable conditions at the Evesham Primary School, as you heard from Hans. Or they made the long trek to Cane End. And you know that's far away from here by road. So it is important, of course, that we see this project in the right perspective. Some insightful persons have said that lack of sporting outlet for the young people in this area contributed to the spate of criminal activities that we've seen in the last few years. And this village, Evesham, has always been a very quiet village, but you know we experienced some very unfortunate incidents recently. Well, not so recent, but it's in the last 2 or 3 years. In addition, we know the importance of sports because it builds teamwork, discipline, camaraderie. The availability of sporting facilities in communities is of paramount importance. And therefore, that is why this government has been investing so much in sport. And you heard from the Honourable Minister responsible for sport, Sesmaki, as to what we have done and what we'll continue to do in the next term. And listen to me, there will be a next term. Sister Gordon Miguel, who brought the Learning Resource Center to Evesham and the clinic, she tried. But as I said, there's a lack of flatlands for us to build things. And again, too, in this valley, people don't part with lands so easily. Land is life in Mariaquaw. It's always difficult to get lands. But I started negotiations with the agents of Mr. Bernard John some 2 years ago. Mr. John, who was very much a mentor and an activist in this area when he had the time, he agreed to sell us this piece of land, which amounts to some 1.6 acres. Our only regret is that he passed on before we were able to break ground. May he rest in peace. It is my hope that at some point we may be able to erect an apt symbol in his memory within the presence of this facility. At this point, I wish to thank the Prime Minister for agreeing with us that such a facility was needed in the community. I went to the Prime Minister and I told him that the people of Evesham were hounding me for a playing field. As a matter of fact, I passed by Dot's shop one evening and I started to talk and he said, Jimmy, before you go any further, we want a playing field. I hear they say, you don't make promises, you're making this one. I made it and it's there. I also like to thank the Minister of Finance for making the monies available to purchase the land. It cost just over $350,000. And when you add that to the other $500,000 that Maurice is talking about, you see how expensive this playing field is. But it is worth it. So we got good support from the highest level of government, because this government understands the importance of sport, the importance of development of young people, and the importance of Mariaquaw. I wish to express thanks to the National Lottery, led by Chairman Murray Bullock, for their prompt response in clearing and grading the site to bring it to the point where we have the outline of a playing field now. Because there are some people who said earlier on that it was just a promise, that it wouldn't happen. And then they saw the land being graded and they said they're just grading it for so. Now we reach further. They're saying that they would finish it. You know who that means? Crazy people, right? They're all around, well, not all around, a few of them scattered up around the place. If I say all around, they make it sound like a plenty of them. So work began on the site a few weeks ago, and I think Lottery so far has done a wonderful job. We need to give them a round of applause, because they've been working really hard to get to where we are. Graded, it's cleared, and you see the beginnings of a fence going up, some retaining walls on two sides. We hope that in the near future, after it is grassed and fully fenced, we will be able to erect a stand and some toilet facilities. I'll be working along with all the stakeholders in this regard. And you heard from Murray that there are other things that you have to do here. Hans is asking for lights. I'm asking for the stands first and the changing facilities, etc. The lights will come, Hans. I have spoken to Murray in spirit, and he has answered. The members of the community, I assure you that this particular facility is for everybody. The elderly who wish to exercise, the young people who need to work out and to practice and train. Also, it will act as the principal outdoor facility for all kinds of functions. I can't wait to see the students of the Evesham Primary School using it on Sports Day. Right alongside here is a preschool whose swings and slides will find accommodation. We look forward to the many tournaments of one kind or the other. The many sporting organizations in the valley will now have an additional facility. You know, we have one at Cane End, one at the Oval, Evesham Park. We have some problem with movement there. And we have half of one around Cotton Ground in Evesham Park. We're doing work right now at Cane End, doing some repairs to the facilities and also building a fence, the wall that was broken down some time ago. So the benefits of the playing field will be enormous. I do hope our people will make maximum use of it. So I'm happy that this playing field is here, and I hope you're equally happy with it. You've been asking for it for a long time. We have delivered it, well, in parts, because it's not yet finished, but it will be finished soon. I'm sure before Christmas, you will be able to play on it. But this is not the only project that we have undertaken in the western part of Mariaqua. You know we have done a lot of work in the valley. But western Mariaqua, we have done some unique work. About a year ago, we completed down the bottom there at Collins, a very important river defense project. Year after year, around this time, the river used to go with its banks and wash out the homes at the Collins village. We put up a $1 million project there, and that has stopped. So that's one project that we have. Ongoing at the moment is a road from the Collins Bridge to the Carré Bridge. That's over $2 million. And we are also doing some development work at the bridge itself at Carré, which is a different project. But two projects we have going there. I know that the road to Carré is now in a bad condition because of that project, but I'm appealing to you once again for your patience as we complete that project. In terms of roads, we intend, and one of the problems we've had with roads in this area is that recently we had a problem in getting aggregate. And that is why the Kilburney Road is not yet done, or the road to Riley, and that mountain road in Carré. But as soon as we rectify that problem, those roads would be done. Again, I ask for your patience. The scarcity of aggregate, of course, has affected us in other parts of the valley. But apart from that, we have, for the past 4.5 years or so, done more than $40 million worth of projects in every single village in this constituency. Every village in this constituency. And we have 18 of them. For the young people, I'd just like to tell you that since we have moved, yes, Wax, I know Mountain Road, you want Mountain Road fixed, you'll get that fixed. Mountain Road will be fixed, Wax, before Christmas. I'm making that promise. I'd just like to say that because we are going to have the park, the youngsters will be taken off from the hard court at the school. And we will therefore start to fix the hard court so that you can get it to use. And somebody asked me to take care of the women in terms of netball. I think it was Hans. Well, that's how we're going to do it in this area. One other thing I like to say to the young people, some time ago, I drove through from from Green Corner, and I saw a lot of students standing by the road waiting for transportation to go to the schools down in the valley. You know, children have to walk all the way from Riley and from Ponsonby, Evesham, Collins, Carrere to the schools over in the valley. And I've said before, because of our terrain, it is difficult to get from place to place. I've already spoken to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Transport and Works, and he has assured me that we'll have some bus service for school children from this area very, very soon. I'm announcing that because I think you need to know it. That apart from the playing field, we are taking care of the younger ones who go to 3 secondary schools at Convent, Emmanuel Mespo, and Mountain View Academy. It is difficult to take 2 buses to go to Richland Park, for instance. And in any event, the buses come this way rather than going that way. So they're always at a disadvantage, especially when it rains, as it's doing now. In addition to that, I'd like to announce too, that we are in the design phase of erecting, constructing a technical institute in the Maracaibo Valley that will take care of the people who want to do or to take an alternative pathway apart from the academics. And it will serve the 3 secondary schools here, and of course the St. Clair Deacon, which is nearby, and the Adelphi, which is also nearby. And also take care of those people who are out of school and want to do something with their time and to make themselves employable. That Maracaibo Technical Institute is coming. So apart from getting a park, we also are looking at what we can do in addition to that, in enhancing the quality of life in this valley, and particularly in the western villages of Maracaibo. Of course, there are a number of other things that we are doing in terms of the development of Maracaibo. I think in the next week or 2, we have to open a new early childhood center at Richland Park. That costs $1.2 or so million. And right now we have the Montreal Road being done. We have the Sears Road being done, etc. So a lot of work is being done. But as we open this particular park, we want to focus on it, because the people of this region have been suffering for a long time. I'd like to thank the guys on the block who have nudged me, who have sometimes commanded me to ensure that this happens. Thank you for your support. Hans has been very instrumental. Thank you, Hans. And so has been Dirts, and the guys who work with Dirts, who line with Dirts. So we hope that the people of this region would appreciate this park and use it as their own it, take care of it. And when we come back to open it, of course, we'll have one of the most wonderful community parks in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I wish you all the best and hope that you'll continue to support the effort that we are making in the interest of the people of Maracaibo. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Minister Prince. Ladies and gentlemen, you can do better than that for the Prince of the Valley. Put your hands together. Show some appreciation for Minister Sinclair Prince. Just a note, just want to put the members of the various football or cricket teams in the area, the surrounding areas, Carrere, Evesham, Riley, Kelboni, Collins. If you're here, we'd like you to have one representative stand by. We have a number of footballs to give to you to start you on your way. And we would like to recognize some of the donors. I know Minister Prince has quite a few, maybe a 4 or 5 that he will present to you. And also we have one from Michael John of ComSport. He's a man from the valley, and he operates ComSport in Kingstown. So we have one from him, and we have 2 from Tusty Water that we will be presenting to you. So gather your representative and have that person on standby to accept your football or balls immediately following our next presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Maracaibo. I want to now introduce you to a man from Connery, a countryman, a man of deep faith, a former teacher, lecturer, former political activist, the holder of a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of the West Indies, the holder of the master's degree in government from the University of the West Indies, a PhD in government and a degree of author barrister from University of Manchester, England, and Gray's Inn, London, respectively. The head of the Unity Labour Party and Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I invite you to stand, those of you who are sitting, stand, put your hands together as I welcome our Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves, our featured speaker for this evening to address us. Prime Minister.
Where there's a will, there's a way. The only way that may seem it right unto you dismay.
Evesham.
We were born to be free, but survive such rough history. Yet life still goes on in the battlefield. Our existence is a mystery. Coming to from the start, they learn how to beat me.
People of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our chairperson, and Jimmy and Cess, and Murray, and our brother of the Anglican priesthood, and Sister Gerlin, and Jimmy's wife, and Curtis, and Curtis' wife, and everybody here in Maracua. Is Kenny Face I see watching through the window there? Down by the shop? Kenny, you I seen there? Greetings to brethren, everybody. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon, early evening, for us to mark the commencement of this very important facility. We want to talk a little about it specifically, and then to talk about what we have been doing with sports generally in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and how that fits into the overall pattern of development, sustainable development for our country. As Murray pointed out, the actual facility would be around $500,000. And as Jimmy said to you, the land was close to 350. So that's 850. And I want to tell Hans John that if we put lights there, that's another $400,000. It's about the size of the one in Park Hill, in South Rivers. And Vinlek had put the lights up there, and that cost $300,000. So it's a very expensive proposition, and that is why it's important that we take care of it. Now, Sesmaki has detailed for you the number of playing fields and hard courts we have. But the number belies the quality of what we have produced. As you are aware, in 2007, we opened at Annesville a facility fit for international competition. We spent, in order to facilitate the warm-up games for World Cup cricket, just over $50 million. We refurbished completely the Annesville facility. The drainage was done over. I want to take you to some things as simple as that, but vital. The other day when we played the Vincent Premier League,
And rain came the night and early morning. And people said there's no way we are going to start any game there. But you're able to start because as playing fields go across the Caribbean is one of the best drainage systems which has been put in professionally to make it easy that when you rain, the waters drain off quite easily. And of course, we put up all the facilities which are there. And we are doing some restoration to meet the deadline next year for international, the T20 cricket played between Australia and the West Indies. I'm hoping when that happens, we will see at least one, maybe two or more Vincentians on the team playing for the West Indies. But it's not only that field. If you go to Cumberland, regional cricket is played in Cumberland. That is one of the most picturesque fields you can find anywhere in the Caribbean and therefore in the world. A beautiful facility. I don't know how many of you have gone down to it. Then if you go to Park Hill, we build a playing field in Park Hill. As Park Hill implies, is plenty hill. And we decided we're going to build a playing field there. And people ask me if I'm crazy. I say, well, they say I'm crazy that I want to build an international airport. If I could move 4 mountains to build an airport, is one hill I can't move down to build a playing field at Park Hill. So we move down the hill. And we have a beautiful playing field there. And regional cricket is also played there. The West Indies under-19 team regularly plays there. And similarly, in Chile, in Georgetown, there's another beautiful field which hosts regional cricket competition. It also hosts not just cricket, but very much of football. And if you go there, you will see that's part of the model you have to look at. A health and wellness model. Because there are 4 facilities running one into the other up in Chile. The playing field towards the east, the clinic above it, the smart hospital, and then the modern medical and diagnostic complex, which, as you know, is a top-class complex, and many of you here from Evesham go up there for medical treatment instead of going to Kingston. So in the same way we have here a playing facility, when the doctors tell you here, or the nurses, that you need to get some exercise, not only you could exercise on the road, but you're able to go to the playing field in an organized manner or individually as the case may be. So the quality of the field is important. We built, as part of the World Cup expansion, a fantastic facility at Stubbs, just down the road. We also built out, far better than before, Sion Hill playing field. We also built out Arnesville 2 and build a bridge to connect that part with the rest of Arnesville for when you have to take traffic out. You have to think about everything. You have a plan. And remember what the opposition says. If you want to know about plan, ask Ralph. So that's, but I haven't mentioned a facility which many people take for granted. That facility is Victoria Park. The National Lottery, on the field itself, and in relation to the various, the repairs and renovations and additional facilities there, plus new lights and everything. They have spent since 2005, when I gave them the Victoria Park to superintend, and Sister Gerlin will remember that in the cabinet. And we agreed from since then to now, they have spent over $12 million on Victoria Park. So when you go there, the young ones don't remember, you know. The young ones would know. They go there and they see it. But when we came to office, do you know that when we came to office, no cricket or football was playable at Victoria Park? As a playing facility, it was closed. The government then had given some people a contract. And one of the main men they give a contract, part of the contract, well, I'll tell you, all of them, if you go to them now, all of them, not just now, but the last time and the time before, and some of them from the beginning, they want to see nothing with Ralph and Labour. The reason why? I said, man, what kind of thing all you do here? Butcher the officer might remember it because he's a policeman, you'd have been walking around. You remember the mountain they had down at the southern end and the western end of the playing field? You remember that? There was a big mountain. They put dirt there, said they were going to do over the field. They didn't do it properly. Nothing at all. Nobody could play there. But we came by as government. One Tom Papa, you remember? Yeah, you remember what? Well, I hear even them calling me the 5-star general. Well, One Tom Papa, you know. The people of Evesham, they say One Tom Papa is Long Tom Papa. And we fixed that. When we leveled it and we extended the field towards the western end, and Murray and Seeley, the general manager of the Lotto, put a concrete part where the goalie used to be at the eastern, or if we use in south and north, at the northern end. They start to say, where you do that for? But they didn't realize that we were in fact lengthening the field so that when we put that there, we won't compromise in any space whatsoever. And that's a beautiful facility. And we use it for sports, and we use it for culture. We use it for carnival. Let me tell you this. Over the last, I got the numbers here. When I hear they talk about Lotto, over the last 5 years, Lotto contribute $9.5 million to Carnival. Do you hear me? That's in addition, Curtis, to the money they spend on Victoria Park, you know. I'm talking active contribution. These are the facts. They don't want to hear these things, you know. And that is only one area of culture that the National Lottery supports. Look, we are partnering at the moment with the Football Federation, who represent FIFA, the International Football Federation. At first, they wanted playing facility where they could control it wherever they put some lights. So I said to them, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not an NGO. We give you one field, Brighton. You ain't do what you say you're going to do. As if you don't fix that up, we will take it away. Well, thank God, everybody there sees sense, and they're fixing it up good now. But we also signed an agreement, and Cess was painstaking with them, that we will allow you to put down lights, and you will have a preferential opportunity, not an exclusive right, to use the field and nights for the lights, if you're putting in the lights. But the minister retains the right to say no when you send in the schedule. You can get Monday night, but you can't get Thursday night. And we put in the agreement, the minister will not refuse anything unreasonably. So not because you put in $400,000 in light, that means you're going to control the field. We work on a partnership together for the development of sports for everybody in the country, especially young people. That's how we're doing it. That's the advance what is taking place right now, you know. All of those things. Now, National Lottery. Murray told you when we came to office, the National Lottery collected revenues from all the various games of just about $10 million. This last year, the National Lottery has collected over $80 million in revenue. And out of that $80 million, 80 cents out of the dollar go back into prize money. And the other 20 cents on the dollar is to pay administrative staff and to put to sports and culture and a little bit of health and some education. It's very interesting. I hear the NDP say that Ralph getting help for the education or the health. Yes. Well, Luther said they done already gone down by Everready. You know, I don't have anything against Mr. Silva funeral home. But Luther then don't send them down by Mills. Yes, I'm going to say, the opposition says that you shouldn't put any a lot of money to education. They read the law. They read the law. If you read the law provides for possibility of doing education and also health in addition to sports and culture. if it is authorized by the minister. But I'll tell you about the hypocrisy of the opposition. Every year, at least 2 of the opposition representatives, when school opening, secondary school, they tell me, they say, comrade, we have 6 or 8 children going secondary school, I want to help them. I say, just go up by my office, man, and leave the name and leave so and so and so and so. We go send it down Lato and sort it out. The last time, because election coming on, instead of 6 or 8, the same fella leave 14. I tell my executive secretary, no bother that man, send them down. Let the children get educated. But when they talk on the radio, they ain't going to tell you that, you know. You hear me? They will not tell you that. No, don't say that. Or you could say policeman want to get rid of comrade. No, you can't say that, man. Don't throw word by anybody. Don't say that. Don't say that, man. I'll let him cool long a little. He got a little too much. He got a little too much alcohol in him this afternoon. Let him chill out a little bit. So those are the broad facts as to what the National Lottery is doing there. But I'll tell you a story about it. 1 week after I came to office in 2001, I called Mr. Seeley, who is the manager. I said to Seeley, give me a full report as what is happening in Lotto. He said, Prime Minister, the first thing I want to say to you is this. He said, you're the first Prime Minister since the Lotto opened in 1984, in July, in a little cubby hole. And Milton Cato had opened it just before the July 1984 elections. He said, you are the first Prime Minister, first Minister of Finance, whoever called me to ask me about the National Lottery. The National Lottery had no organizational status. And one of the first things I did, I said we have to give you an institutional independence and an institutional structure. On weekends, this man who's talking to you here, I put my legal skills with McGregor Seeley's daughter, who was a draftsperson at the Ministry of Legal Affairs. And together we sit down and we draft the law, which I took to Parliament, about the National Lottery. So anybody who asks about National Lottery, ask this man. I was there at the birth. You hear me? That's why when James E.P. say, quite correctly, repeated me that I'm an ancient warrior, it's true. And my back broad. And this is my heart for that. One day, my back broad.
Tell Friday.
My back, you could lick me up, you knock me down. I get up back. I'm a hard man for that.
After this, them dead.
Well, apparently that kind of music not supposed to play today because this is a government function. But I think you can't resist it a little bit. God, James E.P. is so good. The National Lottery owns its own home. It's a multi-million-dollar property. They didn't have any headquarters, you know. I say, I give you a proper land independence with a proper board, you have to buy a headquarters. We buy that property there from Dr. Cyrus. And we expanded it. And what we did, we made sure that we retained inside of there the 2 courts to play squash. That exists right there at Paul's Avenue. And then National Lottery bought some property down where the glove factory was, that glove factory property. The intention was to build there a gym, to build a gymnasium for young people, but they had to shelve that. And to show you how people from the opposition could be dishonest. And you got to listen when you hear me tell you the whole story. Because of the problems with the school at the old Anglican school, Father, we had to find temporary space. And Sister Garland know that too. Just like we had to find temporary space for the Stony Ground Kingston government. And we say, let us use that space until we get everything organized. We just finished building the new Stony Ground school. Refurbish it completely, put all kind of facilities in it for nearly $2 million. And we are doing the same thing we'll be doing the same thing with the Anglican school. The investment down there by National Lottery, that property now is valued at $10 million. And all that happened, comrades and friends, fellow Vincentians, because of the care which we take in planning, in doing things. And the same way, we saved the National Lottery, we developed Vinlec, we developed Water Authority, we developed Bankers in Vincent, all of them, because those things are part of government. And by the way, those of you here from Belmont and Kilburney, Curtis, I told Jimmy, you might see Water Authority laying pipes. That's a $1.2 million project to solve the problem of low pressure in Kilburney and in Belmont. The part of Belmont where my man who walk by Irie travel, Bibi, that part of Belmont. God, you know, there's two parts. But, yeah, Upper Wim. Upper Wim. So you can tell that is being done. That's $1.2 million. Now, this election coming up, you're hearing a lot of things being spoken by the opposition. And I want to address a few of them for you. They tell you that they're going to reduce VAT from 15% to 10%. The amount of revenue which we would lose is $67 million a year. Because we collect VAT at the port for international transactions, and those of us domestic with VAT when we buy goods and services. Of course, there are a lot of items which are zero rated or exempt from VAT. There is no way you can take $67 million out of the revenue because we collect $585 million in revenue. You're talking about 11-12% of total revenue. If you take that out, Butcher, you can't get paid as a policeman. When month come, you pray to Almighty God. When in the month you're making the sign of the cross, you go down on your knees and say, Lord God, please let them give me my money today. Teachers, civil servants, the pensioners, the medicine in the clinic here. They say they will they'll get it from selling passport. Passport is an unstable source, apart from its wrong in principle. So because they can't, if they get trapped in their promise, and the passport is not sustainable, it's a mirage. It's like the golden calf when Moses gone up the mountaintop for the 10 Commandments. And people say, boy, it's taking so long up there. They just bring them out of Egyptian captivity and bondage and slavery. They're still complaining. They say, man, take all your children and put it in a calf. But the golden calf, God, was a mirage, just like passport. 'Cause how come, right now at the time of COVID, that the country in the OECS, which is doing the best, is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we're the only one who don't have no passport sales. The good book tell you that if you want to create wealth through vanity, it will diminish. But if you create it through labor, to raise real work, hard and smart work, the wealth increaseth. Now my words, from time immemorial, in the book of Ecclesiastes, the wisdom is there. So what will happen? They will bramble you. They will give you old talk. But as sure as the sun rises, if you were to make the mistake to put them, and they can't pay the salaries and they can't get money from this mirage called selling passports, they'll impose new taxes. I don't know whether the tax is going to be a foot tax, or a hand tax, or a mouth tax, or a nose tax, or an eye tax, or a ears tax, or whether it's a toll tax to go from Zion Hill to go down into town. But be assured, they're going to do that. That is the reality. I have been in this business, leading this country for 20 years. And I know the numbers like the back of my hand. And throughout all the difficult years, when every other country in the OECS not able to pay salaries at the end of the month at one time or another, you could put your pot on your fire, turn up at your bank, and you know that your money is there from the Unity Labour Party government.
Oh, won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need.
I tell you, I saw the numbers for the outturn up to the end of September. And I call Edmund. I said, wait, Edmund Jackson, a man from the valley, from Jerusalem Park. I said, y'all make a mistake with the numbers? He said, no. Between the 1st of January this year and the 30th of September, total revenue and grants in this country went up by 8.5%. And the current revenue itself, the revenue which we collect, with no grants, went up by 3.4%. In every other country in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the drop is between 25 and 50%. But we are up. And you know why we are up? Since 2001, we have decided that we'll set about transforming this economy. And while we have lead sectors in agriculture and have lead sectors in tourism. And tourism, you're now about to see the full fruition with all those hotels which have come on to be built. Some have started already. In addition to those, we apply a principle. In addition to those main sectors, we apply a principle which you know in Mespo, which I know as a boy growing up in the country. One does full bowly. And we do a lot of practical one does full bowly things to keep it afloat. And we make sure that where there is any problems, we put a social safety net to hold the poor, to hold the indigent, so they don't fall down through the net. And I tell you, we have about 5,000 on public assistance. Half of them are children going to school, you know. What you want me to do? You never had them at school. So you don't want me to, you don't want me to help the mothers to send their children to school? They say they're going to reduce the numbers, you know. Well, instead of reducing the numbers, I will help more. And from January the 1st, I'm increasing the public assistance money. Those with 250, they're going 275. And those with 275 going $300 a month.
My love is deeper than the ocean. Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the potion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you.
Never love.
Let the lover in you.
You can't lead without you got love. And you got to know the people.
And the rebel in me will touch a rebel in you, and the lovers with me.
Listen. When you want it longer, I know where it go. Okay, you go get it a little longer. It's all right. I pick you up and say, how the thing is so short. It's a sweet tune. It's a sweet tune. Sister G would understand what I'm saying here. Our parents, your grandparents, used to say and think that we can develop St. Vincent and the Grenadines with unlimited supplies of cheap labor. And so Arthur Lewis has written a book on that subject. But where we are today, the foundation we have laid on the education revolution, in deepening the transformation, this country has to be sustainably developed with unlimited supplies of knowledge and skills. That is why it is so important for that technical institute inside the MESPO to develop most of the skills which the people in the valley hone in. I am saying to you, you have a choice. And leadership matters. I ask you this question. Where you think we would have been if I did listen to the opposition when they tell me state of emergency in the country, lock it down tight like a drum, curfew, impose draconian Chinese methods. Those were all their recommendations, you know. Today on the campaign trail, the opposition is not mentioning one single thing about COVID. You know why? They're running from COVID because we have handled the issue so well. There's a lady in Park Hill talking to me about it. She said, comrade, I was worried when you were not locking down the country, you know. She said, but I see now your wisdom. She said, you don't see wrong corner. You hear me? You have to make sure that you don't go and make a mistake with weak leadership. Mitchell come back to control Friday and mash up the party at the same time. Friday clearly is being driven from a policy standpoint by people who want to sell passports. The Chinese and the Europeans. We can't go for no mirage and no golden calf. We had to do it with hard and smart work. And I want to repeat some things which I will speak about more in detail on Independence Day. Those public servants who have university degrees who are not yet appointed, you're getting the graduate allowance, but you're not appointed as a graduate in the public service. From January the 1st, that's a thing of the past. We're doing all of them. Just like I did it with the teachers. Secondly, I know it hard because of COVID on some students who graduated and those who on the student loan program still. For 1 year, starting September the 1st this year and ending January the 31st, August the 31st next year, we are going to waive the interest on your loans. We in the government will take up that tab to give you a little breathing space. And we're dealing with a lower interest rates after. Working that out with the National Insurance Services. I want also for the nursing assistants to know that I've asked the officials in the Ministry of Finance to give me the costing. I have a rough idea as to what it is. Because it is my intention, come the 1st of January next year, all those who retired before the 27th of October 2015, I want them to go on the pension roll as from the 1st of January 2021. And there are more things you're going to hear me announcing to helping ordinary people improve their lives. But they are the big job creators in the hotels, in agriculture, in fisheries, in information technology. All of these things, be prepared. We have created 12,000 jobs since 2001. Real flesh and blood people who get jobs, check out the NIS and you'll see that. We still have an unemployment problem, but you can't do it without things sustainably. All of these things connect with sports. All of them connect with what is taking place here this evening in Evesham. I have known Jimmy Prince for many, many years. And he worked as a public servant. I worked with him when he was director of the Agency for Public Information. And he has been an excellent minister of education and a very good constituency man. I know Bernard Wiley, but everybody knows that Bernard, and I have nothing against Bernard personally, and I ain't going to say nothing against him. But Bernard is yesterday's man with day before yesterday's ideas. You know, I hear my partner Bernard went to see a fella who was supporting him in 2001 when he ran against Gerlin, when Gerlin ran against him. And Gerlin beat him in 2001 by over 1,000 votes. That's the last time his name was on the ballot. He go away, stay away, he come back. Well, you know, sometimes you lose touch. Because when he went to the house, he meet a woman there. He said to the woman, "What about my friend so-and-so? Is he here?" The woman say, "He dead now 10 years." He didn't even know. You have to learn again. No, I ain't saying nothing against him. But all we know that Jimmy is a superior candidate in a superior party which has performed and which has plans for the future. And above all, this is a party with love. We know our people know us, and we have love for one another. Unbreakable love. Congratulations on this playing field. And I want to say this to my friend Lorraine Friday, the leader of the opposition, head of the NDP. I heard him say, asking everybody to come out and vote for him on the 5th of December. I think all of us would be prepared to vote for him on the 5th of December. You hear me? Only that we have in the real election on the 5th of November. God bless you. Good night.
God's my shepherd and not one. Make me down to lie in pastures green. Thou leadest me the quiet waters by.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Prime Minister. Put your hands together again for the Honorable Prime Minister. Okay, now because we are having the rain intermittently, we're going to make use of this period where it's not raining so we can get through the unveiling of the sign, and we're still going to try to do the ceremonial groundbreaking. So we're going to ask the former parliamentary rep, the Honorable Gerlin Miguel, and the wife of Mr. Jimmy Prince to go down to the sign. They will be doing the unveiling. And we're going to have our esteemed Prime Minister, Mr. Elroy Williams Zops, and Mr. Jimmy Prince to do the turning of the sign.
Rip it. Okay? Camera people, you all ready? All right. So we're going to go. 1, 2, 3. Rip. Mr. Zopes would dig the soil, he will dig, and Kim and Minister Prince, they stand. Zopes, soil, Zopes, soil. He will dig. Right, dig it, dig it, dig it. Lift it up. That's right. All right, that's enough. Thank you very much. So for the turning of the soil, and we now the unveiling of this time. Thank you very much, National Lottery. Thank you very much. All you need to get in the shot, get in the shot. That's right.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. My task should be a simple one, to thank you all for witnessing the groundbreaking ceremony for the Evesham playing field, the 25th sporting facility in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am happy to move the vote of thanks on behalf of residents and the supporting communities to Jennifer Richardson, who has helped to move and guide today's program smoothly with a lot of interest. Thank you to Father Hanif Johnson for inviting the presence of God among us. Thanks to Daniel Duncan, our young panelist, for playing the national anthem. Special thanks to the children of the Teacher Miriam Edwards Preschool for putting us in the spirit of independence. Thank you to Mr. Hans John for his determination in advocating the need for a playing field for Evesham and the surrounding areas. Thank you to the chairman, Mr. Murray Bullock of the National Lottery Authorities. We value your contribution to the development of our playing field here in Evesham, and for all the contribution you would have made throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Special thanks to the children of the Evesham Methodist Primary School for an interesting original piece and for reminding us of the stalwarts and esteemed members of the community of Evesham. Thank you to Minister Cecil Mackey. We are proud that you are able to witness, I don't want to say the final sporting facility before your farewell. We appreciate your efforts and work as Minister of Sports. To Honorable Jimmy Prince, our area representative, we want to thank you. And I'll ask all of you here today to join with me in raising a clap, a round of applause for Honorable Jimmy Prince for his Put your hands together for our minister, Honorable Jimmy Prince. I'm not hearing the applause. A man of determination for making bold requests and ensuring our needs that we present to him are being met among a competitive lot of representatives. Honorable Minister Prince, on behalf of the residents and community of Evesham and surrounding areas, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for ensuring that the youth of our community has a playing field of their own. I want to also thank our Honorable Prime Minister, though he may have left, for gracing us with his presence here in Evesham. and reminding us from where he started and the need to be consistent, the value of partnerships with the National Lottery, and the various prospects that he put forward, job creation, and he reminded us to be prepared for the best. In conclusion, let me remind us, ladies and gentlemen, that we are now in Evesham, not just a village, but a hub for social, economic development. Because we can now say we boast not just the many churches, not just primary school and preschools, not just the Maraqua Resource Center and our own clinic, but we can say now we have a facility for our sporting and cultural activities. For that, I want you to say, hip hip, hip hip,